All right, we're gonna give this another try here. Let's get Jessica up on this. Sorry about the technical difficulties, everybody. I hope everyone's having a good week so far. Let me get some people in here. What's up, JP? Welcome back. I hope the road's treating you well, my dude. What's up, Chris? Need to get Jessica up in here. Hello, Nippon Kogakui. What's up, not for sale? All right, so we got Jessica in here. So perfect. Hi.
Hi.
Huzzah, it works.
Oh my gosh. Mercury
Well,
isn't in retrograde or anything.
I don't know what, like, today's just been like a weird fucking day for me in general, so I wasn't really surprised that, technical difficulties happened. This is
Yeah.
honestly the weird thing, that has started with the like whole like app shit or whatever, because like I guess they're trying to integrate more features with Facebook or some shit now. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well, I'm like scheduled. So I have an iPhone 6.
yeah.
I'm scheduled to get a new phone like in the next few weeks. So, you know, I thought my app was automatically updating and doing all kinds of fun stuff, but
Yeah.
good
I mean,
things.
iPhone 6, like those fuckers had a good run. I still know lots of people rocking those ones out there.
Yeah, I mean, there's very little I would change about the phone except the damn camera. So,
Yeah. Well, and that's why everyone's going to like the 11 Pro Max or whatever. Now there's the 12, I guess. Whatever. I fucking.
yeah, I'm between the I'm trying to decide between the 12 Pro and the 12 Pro Max, but I don't want like a stupidly sized like Zach Morris phone.
Well,
So
so I used to have a 6S and I really liked the 6S. The 6S was like great. And I struggled a little bit with it though, because like I really loved my 4S. Like that was sort of like the ideal sort of like size for like a little like, fucking tiny phone to carry around. And then I kind
yeah,
of fell in love with the 5. The 5 form factor was cool. And then the 6, I hated it first because it was like bigger. Um, but when my 6S shit the bed on me, I bought an 8 Plus. And I used to make fun of people with like the 8 Plus, but now it just feels like a normal phone. Like you get used to the sizes,
you,
and then like because I have an 8 regular for work, and whenever I
mhm,
have to use it, I'm like, what the fuck is this tiny little thing? Like my fingers don't fit on it anymore, and this feels really weird.
yeah.
It's like,
Welcome to iPhone Talk with Merlin and Jessica.
yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, with the cameras they've been putting into the newer ones, I think they do like count as like a photographic tool now. Like, what are your thoughts on that actually?
Well, I mean, the saying is that, the best camera is the one that you have with you. So, I mean, I'm not one of those people that knocks digital photography versus analog.
Yeah.
I love all photography. Um, and it's interesting that there are tools now that you can, bridge the digital analog divide, like the Instant Lab or whatever the hell they're calling it this week. I have the old one from Impossible. Like I was a Kickstarter backer,
Yeah.
and I have the conversion kit, so allegedly I can uh you know like use any phone to use it,
Sweet.
um but I've kept my iPhone 4, and I'm planning on keeping my 6 just in case, so that if there are images I want to print on um you know Polaroid film, I can. I also have the Fuji um SQ thingy and the and the I have both of them. I have the little one and I have the square one,
Okay.
and I feel like very chic, or like influency because I have those. So
Because you could be like, here, let me snap a photo of it, and then like while you're talking, it sort of prints out, and you're like, here you go.
yeah, I mean, if you're hanging, I mean, in the before times, if you were hanging out with people, you
Oh,
could
the
like
times.
make images and be like, here you go, here's like that, photo of your, cocktail that you love so much or
Yeah.
whatever. But I mean, again, every piece of equipment has its time and place. So, you know, you just have to figure out what that is.
I
And
completely agree with that. I'm curious, thoughts from the crowd, and while they're gathering their thoughts, I have to say the same thing. I have the old original Impossible one, and so far it's been totally useless. But thanks to Kat Wells, who's on the chat here, she gave me her old 4S, so now I can finally use this Polaroid lab thing that I bought in Tulsa last year that's just been sitting around. I was thinking of like ripping it apart to convert one of my other cameras so I could shoot 600 with it, but
isn't Jana going to send you the conversion kit too?
Oh yeah, she was
From
yeah, last week she said she was gonna send that shit to me. So yeah, I can also thank you. My memory's been kind of terrible since the accident earlier this year. What's up, Luis Tio? Um,
not
but yeah, I
oh, hey
agree.
Kat.
Yeah, she's great. Kat gave me her old phone, so I can possibly use that, and hopefully I can use the thing Janice sends, and I'll have all sorts of options for shit.
Yeah.
Um, but I
The
used to be one of those
I,
apps. Oh,
what I
should you
like
go ahead?
about the instant what I like about the Instant Lab versus the Fuji printer
Yeah.
is the Instant Lab has always felt to me like a mini darkroom or a mini enlarger.
Ooh.
So it's like you're carrying around a little darkroom with you versus just here's a printer that's going to make like a very cold and sterile version of whatever's on your phone. So you have the opportunity to do more with it. You can do multiple exposures. It takes a little bit of the preciousness of having a one of one out of things. However, the Instant Lab is not infallible either. So you can print 5 copies of the same image and they're all going to look slightly different because there were 4 microns difference in the way that the chemistry was laid out, or it's spread across the rollers, or you had a piece of lint stuck somewhere.
But that's the
So
magic of Polaroid.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the beauty of Polaroid. So you have these opportunities to and if you're able to make a couple of copies of something, then you have the opportunity to experiment more. So you're not going to be like, oh, I have this one-off image of the Grand Canyon that I took, I'm not going to do an emulsion lift with it because if I screw it up, I won't have that image anymore.
Yeah.
So it's an opportunity for you to like like deconstruct and take things apart and play with it more versus being like, this is my precious, like it was shot on like limited edition film, and I was in a exotic location, we can all dream.
Yeah.
um
Maybe one like 2030, somewhere around then
yeah,
we can experience that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll like ride those little scooters they have in front of the supermarket, because we'll all be like decrepit, and we can put our like tripods on the back, it'll be great.
I'll look like a real wizard by then because this will be all like white.
Yeah, you'll have the wisdom silver in there.
Yeah, I'm getting the lightning bolts right now. I don't know what that means. But I
I
do
pay
have
a
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I said I pay a colorist to get rid of my wisdom. Actually, I don't pay a colorist anymore because I don't see anyone anymore. So
Yeah.
I get rid of.
See, like I used to go, I was like a fancy lad in the old world, and I would go see like a barber every like 2 to 3 weeks and do like the
Mm-hmm.
whole like bald fade with like the razor time, and like, we'd shoot the shit, and it was like a cool thing. And then COVID, I've been cutting my own hair in my bathroom because like I just don't give a shit. I was gonna
Yeah,
go like full Grizzly Adams and just be like, until the pandemic ends, I'm just gonna like fucking go buck wild. And then like I think it was like 3 or 4 months, I was like, I can't do this. This is just
Hmm.
it is too scruff.
Yeah,
Um,
my hair is way too long. It's you know, it's getting out of hand. I
you look
trimmed it,
great,
I think, in like April, but like I have like I'm like
Danny, dude.
it's like it's like there's just way too much of it. It's getting really complicated. I'm like, now I know why like all the people in the olden times braided it all the time. So,
Well,
you know,
actually, that brings up an interesting point that I never really thought of. Is like, what is the pandemic going to do to beauty standards now that people can't follow these like regimes that they were always doing, where they're going out and like having professionals like make them look a certain way all the time, and like, you know, I wonder if this is going to change like the whole beauty industry somehow, because like, people can't do what they were doing before in the old world.
I definitely think so. I mean, it's affecting all the arts, right? So, being photographers, obviously we have a heightened sense of awareness when it comes to aesthetics.
Mhm.
And, I mean, we know we're not always fancy when we're going out. I mean, if anyone has joined me in the desert at 5 a.m., I, look like death warmed over, but it's dark out and I don't care because I'm there to chase the good light.
Yeah.
So, but I think there's a lot of DIYing going on. I mean, I've been joking that like I didn't learn how to make sourdough, but I know how to do my own nails now. So, it's just one of those things where you kind of figure things out, and the fact that you have these platforms and you know all these people who are like instructing, it was like I have no idea how to do this, that, or the other, and or cut my own hair, or whatever you're going to do, and
Yeah.
you just you know as Jeff Goldblum says, life finds a way. So
It does. I mean, he's like,
I
life. It finds a way.
yeah. So it's like, I mean, I think that obviously, if you look at like the larger trends within, the way that ad campaigns are being shot right now,
Yeah.
commercials, there's all these different, really creative things that are going on, to keep people socially distanced, but to continue to create interesting content and to push the medium. And I think anything that pushes the medium and anything that allows people to continue to make work, whatever that work may be, fine art, commercial, personal, all of those things are important. And we have to be open to whatever those opportunities are.
I like that. Well, I mean, so I guess we could do a little introduction part because we totally missed that. But
We
Jessica,
totally just launched into everything
yeah,
because
we
it's
just
like,
we just launched. It's like let's talk about iPhones. Let's talk about
let's talk about
pandemic
hair.
life.
Let's,
Yeah,
yeah.
So Jessica is a PR maven, and then I'll let her take it from there.
Oh, that's a dangerous thing to do. But yes, I guess my day job is, I work in marketing and PR, and then whenever I, you know, have the mental capacity and the spare time, I'm involved in photography,
Mhm.
and or usually I'm involved in photography, I guess would be the way to put it. That's a whole conversation in and of itself. So I've been shooting, I guess most of my life. I remember getting my very first camera when I was like 7. I got a Fisher Price like 110 little mini camera, and I was very disappointed that it did not give me editorial results. I was like, excuse me, why does this not look like the stuff in the magazines? Like, I just didn't understand it. And then I didn't actually get to. Oh wait, here, you got to get my shirt too. I
Your
got
shirt.
I got There we go.
Oh, nice, beauty. I'm still figuring out how this sucker works, so we'll see if it goes well.
Um, but I finally took a formal photography class when I was in high school, and took black and white darkroom, and I did that all throughout high school and college. I got my minor in fine art photography. If I had been any kind of smart, I would have stayed an extra year and gotten my BFA. Um, instead of just getting a minor in it, but you know, c'est la vie.
Yeah.
And in 2008, when Polaroid announced they were going to stop making film, I was kind of at this interesting crossroads, um, with photography and, personally and professionally. And I just said, I'm going to shoot as much of this as I can while it's around.
Yeah.
And when I started, I was terrible. I mean, I didn't like the images I was coming up with. I mean, everything had that like magical, whimsical quality to it. And, the magic of being able to shoot with a Polaroid camera in any form. But, I stole my mom's Spectra. She had like one of the top of the line
Right.
Spectras.
Spectra.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, well, yeah, her and the camera.
Oh,
But
right.
um,
Yeah.
but the you know, I then went on eBay and bought the filter kit, and was tricking it out with the tripod and trying, like, one of the first things I started doing was I was like, okay, how do I shoot at night? And I tend to shoot, if you look through my Flickr feed, or if you go deep into my Instagram feed, because it's been a while since I've posted anything new, and I apologize for that to everybody who's watching, going, wait, I'm looking at her Instagram and she doesn't have anything right now. But like, I love shooting Polaroid at night because it's one of those things where, like, once you figure out how to do it, like, it's magical and it's not something that everybody does. So um, I was able to kind of trick the electronic eye on some of my cameras. I um, received my dad's 360 land camera as a gift when I was in college. He had it refurbished by Polaroid, and he had actually won it when he was in college. And it was the top of the line kit, and it came with all the flash, the cloud filter, the all the bells and whistles. So it's very hard to talk while
Just keep talking. It's cool. I'm not doing
you're
it.
gonna you're gonna get me like going like, or
That's,
something. So
yeah, that's the best.
says you.
So your
So
dad's 360?
yeah, so he gave me his 360, and when the 2008 announcement came, I pulled that out. I started again just trying to hoard film and buy as much of it as I possibly could, and and then I went online and I found Polaroid, and I found Flickr, and this whole community of people all over the world um, that love the same things I do. And a lot of, most of them knew way more than me.
Hmm.
And fortunately, they were willing to teach me, hey, this is how you shoot this, or here's a film you've never heard of, or you might have kind of heard of it, but you never found it before. Like, I had no idea how cool 665 film was until I couldn't get it. Like, I remember going into the photography shop in Santa Rosa where that ironically one of my friends owns, like, that took it over and then moved it and did a whole thing. But like, the photography shop that we would go to buy all of our stuff. And I'd heard of Type 55, but I didn't know that they made 665, which fits the standard land cameras,
Yeah.
not the 4x5. So like, I would have shot that all through college because it rendered a medium format image.
Yeah.
And I only like was able to get some through Pola Premium, which was the predecessor to the Impossible Project. And I paid dearly for it, and I still
Yeah.
have a few packs sitting in the bottom of my fridge, waiting for a special occasion. The last time I shot some, though, it still turned out pretty well. It's a
That's
pain in the neck because the image is on the um, backing sheet, and you have to soak it and you have to treat it in order to, like, get the goopy stuff off.
yeah.
Um, but
You get
eventually you get an image. So same with Time Zero and Chocolate. I mean, I shot, I've been fortunate enough to shoot all of those films.
I never got to shoot chocolate, and I'm so sad about it. And bought me a box of chocolate, and then we like didn't work out. And I was like,
Mm.
can you send the chocolate? I was poor taste to like ask for that like after a breakup. Um,
Yeah.
that was I was like it was so close, but I did shoot some Time Zero, and holy shit, I fucking love Time Zero.
Time Zero is like a drug.
It is. I
It,
have one pack left, and I'm just like, oh, what am I gonna do with it? Because like I know that it works because I bought two that were from the same batch, and I shot one like a greedy boy, um, and I've been hoarding the other one.
I took my last pack of Time Zero up to San Francisco in March and I didn't shoot it. I was
You,
like,
oh, that would have been
I,
like the perfect time, like just to
it
shoot
wasn't,
pandemic
I
time.
wasn't feeling it, you know, like I
Oh,
wasn't like,
there.
the problem is that like the film needs like, you know, because I wanted to shoot the Golden Gate Bridge on it. And, you know, like the day that I left, I went and I shot, you know, around the Presidio and I did shoot some stuff of the Golden Gate Bridge. And I almost busted it out, like, because the clouds were parting, because you really need a lot of light in order to
You do.
get the flames and to get the like Van Gogh blues and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. So I was just like, dude, you know, I'm like, if I put it in there, if I put it in the camera, it's in. Like, you can't try the dark slide trick. Like, it's, you know, the film is too precious to like waste. But it's
I
also,
dark bag stuff. So
yeah, but I just don't want to risk it with that film. I mean, again, it's like, you know, it's like opening a bottle of, you know, vintage, you know, Chateau Latour or something. It's this, you know, it's this like precious
that
quantity that, you know, there's only so much of it. And it was, you know, cold stored in a shipwreck and, you know, somebody dove down and got it and, you know, brought it up and put it on a pedestal. So
people were murdered for it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know if everybody knows the story of why they stopped making the film, but Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah, that was it,
Um,
right? Because it was
yeah.
like a small little chemist that was making the compounds for it, and
Hmm.
they got like taken out by Katrina, and then they just took the insurance payout because they were like old or whatever was the story that I heard.
Yeah, and the environmental ramifications. I mean, there's so many things, but out of all the films I wish we could bring back from the dead, Chocolate and Time Zero are the top two.
Well,
I
and
am
if they brought chocolate back, that means pack film comes back too, and
right.
I really want pack film to come back. Like I appreciate what Super Sense is doing with One Instant, and it's nice that that's there, but like I need to be able to do more than one pull. Like you got to be able to like do the you got to do the unicorn tears, you know?
Exactly, exactly. And you know, I mean, Chocolate was an accident.
Yeah, I
Like,
heard that that was a it was a mix up, right? They mixed like
yeah, I
color, was it black and white negatives with color pods or
think so.
yeah.
Yeah. So it was this happy accident. And the thing, I don't know if it was psychological, but like some of the fresh packs of chocolate fresh-ish that I shot smelled like chocolate. And I'm like,
Weird.
what are you guys doing? Like, it was so weird. But like, I have a couple of images that I'm really proud of that I shot on chocolate. Like, I shot this chandelier shop in downtown New Orleans, or in the French Quarter, rather. At night, I did like a 45-second exposure, and I got this like really cool. Like, I want to blow it up to like 30 by 40 and like make it a light box, and it's one of my favorite images. And
Mhm.
then when I was in Normandy at Omaha Beach, my brother and I woke up at dawn to go to the beach, to go to, you know, the to go to where, you know, D-Day happened.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it at the time, but the images that I took there were like my favorite pictures from my entire trip to Europe.
Whoa.
So yeah, yeah. So, you know, I mean, instant film to me just has this opportunity not only to make you slow down and stop and compose images, but, you know, to you know, embed itself in your memory in a very, you know, unique and evocative way. Like, whenever I look at that image, I think about, you know, the way that the air smelled and the fact that when I pulled the image apart, I like jumped up and down, like all giddy, and it was just like, oh my God, this is it. This is the image like that I came here to make.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah.
and I totally feel that too. Like, this Polaroid here, when I pick this up, I could remember the day that I went to the beach with my really good friend, and the time we were walking along and just we saw these weird dead fish, and we were like telling her dog not to eat them, and we were like, "What's that smell?" And that's when we found all the dead fish.
All the weird
It,
dead fish.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful picture, but I'm like, I remember rotting decay when I look at it. Which is kind of like, and like a really pleasant adventure day with like, one of my best friends.
Yeah.
It's interesting the power that instant photos have with that, and I think that's like one of the things that's really sucked me into Polaroids and instant photography is like they're little time capsules for me. Like I can pick one of these up and be transported back to the moment that I shot it, which
Yeah.
is kind of fucking wild, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I saw a question scroll through, but I'm really afraid to touch my
Okay,
phone.
I will read you the question here.
Thank you. Thank
Info
you.
234 asks, what does the black and white girl photo in the back represent, and what kind of emotions does it make you feel?
Ooh, that's really people are spying my background here. Um, that image is actually one of my favorite pictures, and I don't know who took it. It was given to me by a really good friend in college, and when he gave it to me, he just said, "I thought you'd like this." It just, and I instantly did, and he said, "I've had it for years, and it's yours now."
That's
So it's just one of those pictures that like um I interpret in different ways, in different times of my life. Um, and it's meant a lot of different things to me in different iterations. But yeah, it's one of those things I just kind of can't get rid of. So, you know, lost touch with a friend long ago, but the image and the memory remains. So yeah.
that's beautiful.
Yeah, good question. Good question.
He always has the he always has great questions. Um, yeah, I mean, like that was actually how we met was through the Polaroid stuff. I ran into you at my first Polacon ever at Polacon,
Mm-hmm.
and we bonded over our mutual distaste for Fuji destroying one of the most beautiful things that's ever lived.
Yeah, I'm a little salty about Fuji. I mean, again, it's this whole, if you don't support them, then everything's gonna go away
Yeah, but the
at
thing
some point.
with Fuji, and this is why I hate them, is like even if you support them, they'll be like, "Fuck you, whatever."
Yeah.
They just really don't give a shit.
The fact that Doc went over to Japan and spent like 2 weeks trying to convince them to like sell him like the equipment, and they just wouldn't. I mean, it makes me want to. It makes me want to like. I want to understand like maybe there's a like glimmer of hope that they'll make more pack film themselves
I
if like
don't think
enough
they
people
will
ask
though,
for it.
because so this was a rumor that I heard from like insiders that know people at Fuji and stuff. The equipment that was used for packing pack film was retooled for cosmetics, is the rumor.
Mm-mm.
So,
That that obsesses me. I'll
yeah,
stop wearing if I can have pack film
and
back.
so that was like in I won't name names on it, but this guy was like, the problem that Fuji has is they felt that film was going away so much that they decided to divest a ton of film stuff. So they let go of real estate that they had for film factories. They let go of equipment. They repurposed people into different divisions and stuff and refocused themselves elsewhere.
Mm.
So much to the point that if they wanted to ramp their production back up to where they used to be at, they can't afford to do it, and they don't have
Yeah.
people to move around now. That was why they were making a bid to try and buy Kodak because they could just like walk into the Kodak factory and just fucking do whatever. But
Yeah.
Kodak's not as hurting as they used to be. We'll see what happens now that they're going back into pharmaceuticals again because that was what triggered the first bankruptcy. So,
Yeah.
what are the odds it'll
And
happen again?
so, I'm originally from Buffalo, and I have family that lives in Rochester.
Yeah,
And I remember growing up, I mean, Kodak, I mean, Rochester's a company town.
yeah,
And, my dad used to tell stories about how, like, in the 60s and 70s, like, when bonuses would come out, it was this huge boon for the economy in Rochester. I mean, the car dealerships would do well, you know, real estate would see a boom. There was all these things. And, to see Kodak just kind of be this shell of its former self, and to, do kind of these like weird, shady deals with, like, insider trading allegations and all kinds of other like crazy things. Again, I hope that they don't go the way of, Polaroid circa 2008 with, the Ponzi scheme. And,
yeah.
I'm not just a legal disclosure. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but I just, I want to make sure that the people who are in care of film understand, like, what makes film special and why we need it, and why nothing, like, why digital will never truly replace film ever.
So I did get a chance to tour the Kodak factory last year, and I got to meet a bunch of the factory workers. And like the people that are making the film, they understand how special it is. Like it was really cool to talk with some of these guys because like a lot of them are really fucking old because
Hmm.
like, film. There are some like, younger generation peoples there, but there were some people where it's like, they're like third, fourth, fifth generation Kodakers, which I was like,
Wow.
holy shit. Um, the people I met though, fiercely dedicated to like protecting film and making sure it survives. The problem that Kodak is going to have in the next like probably 5 years, like it's already starting to perk up a little bit, is their workforce is going to start retiring in mass, and they don't have fresh workers to move into these really specialized roles. Um,
Yeah.
so they're like the company's willing, the people that are there that are willing, but it's the workforce might not exist in the next like 5 to 8 years because they're just all gonna like age out. So before COVID, like they were saying that they were gonna start doing like sort of a lot of hiring in the factory to start getting more people trained up and stuff because some of that equipment is like really specialized to understand it. And then it's wild because like you have to do a lot of the shit in complete darkness because
Mm.
once they make it photosensitive or like light sensitive, you have to do it in complete darkness. And it was insane just to see like some of the machinery and stuff these guys had to like work with in like pitch black. Like, they're not even doing like infrared goggles or anything. It's just by like remembering where things are. There are like these little sort of like really, really dim green glowy lights that have
Hmm.
outlines where equipment are and like, they outline danger zones with this like really faded green. Like they turned the
Yeah.
lights off, let our eyes adjust so we could see some of that. And that's what these guys work in is like in this like fucking basically pitch black darkness and just feeling things out with stuff that could like, rip their hands off and shit. It's kind
That's
of
crazy. I think about how long it took me to master um, popping open the film canister and putting the film on the reel.
yeah.
I never had good luck with it when I was in high school. Like, I always had to have somebody help me with it. And then when I finally got metal reels with the teeth on the inside, um, then it was like once I got it, it was like I could go in there, I could do it in pitch black. We had the little glowy things too, but I can't imagine assembling complicated, like, cartridges, and, like, cutting off. I mean, but again, I guess it's route, it's routine. It's
Yeah.
it's one of those things that, you figure out, oh yeah, I go like this 5 times, and I've, gotten, 36 exposures, and then I cut it off and I roll it up and send it off, and there you
I
go.
left the factory being like, I want to fucking move to Rochester and work for Kodak. Like,
Nice.
if they're hiring.
Rochester's a cool town. I wish that I would have the opportunity to spend more time there. There's an entire abandoned subway system.
What?
You got to Google it.
Okay,
Like,
I have to look this up. Oh wait, we got a question here, and Armand also joined. What's up, Armand?
Mond?
Um, so we've got a question. Is info234 asks again, is that a camera behind you? And if it is, can we get a quick demo on the camera and what you like most about it?
What's behind me? Oh, this one?
Or is that just
Is
like
the
a little toy camera?
It's a I I love Peter Murphy, so I've got a miniature secret camera. But I found this at a yard sale. It's a working camera.
Really?
It's a Toya. It says a Toyota, and it's made in Japan. There you
Okay.
go. I've never actually shot with it. I just thought it was like totes adorbs.
This
And I mean, it's little. It's got, but it takes. I think it could take like 110 film, or you could cut down. I think the person who sold it to me said that you can cut 35 millimeter in half, and then load it in the dark, obviously, um, and shoot it. So like, it's a goal of mine to like try seeing if I can get it to work. But yeah, isn't it cute? It's like dink.
those are like little itty bitty negatives that you get at like smaller than 110.
Yeah. So I've got a miniature secret camera, which if you haven't heard that song, it's a great song.
I'm not. I'll
And
listen to it now.
it came with a little case. Look at
What?
that. It's so
That's fucking adorable. I need you to like pose with your little mini camera in its little mini case here.
It's like dink.
Because none of my Polaroids turned out because it's too dark in my room. So this will work though. Yay.
Yeah, it's so cute. So yeah, I'd like to shoot with it. But yeah, it's so cute. Little
It's super
tiny.
cute.
There you go. I'm sure you could probably find one on the eBay. But I'd never seen one. And hey, James just joined. Hi, James. I think James just joined. Either that or I just got a group text from him. I'm not sure. Hi to everybody who's on there. Who's on. I can't see who's on because I refuse to touch my camera at the moment because I'll knock something over and it'll all fall apart. So, but yeah. Well, I feel like a pundit, because everyone's like judging my bookshelf, so
Your bookshelf's fine. It's
I
great. It looks very creative and artsy.
I appreciate that. I try. So, we've got all of our little altars to creativity that we make. Um, so I have a question that I'd like to pose to the group and
All right.
to you. Um, so I've been kind of stuck.
Oh
Like
wait, just a
I
sec. Before you jump in your question, No
Mhm.
Ortega says, Jessica, any 8x10s recently?
Hi Noe. It's nice to see you on the feed. I have not shot any 8x10 recently. In fact, I just moved a bunch of my 8x10 film and said, this stuff's gonna go bad soon. So I would really love to get out and shoot some of that. So yeah.
You gotta shoot, 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 man.
Yeah, and that's one of the issues is I haven't been shooting a lot. I went through kind of a creative rut. I mean, obviously a lot of that had to do with, my mother being ill and,
Yeah.
going through that whole process with her. But, part of what I've been trying to do is, come back to creativity and come back to photography. And, the weirdest thing for me is usually I carry, besides an iPhone, I usually carry some sort of camera with me. But the last year or so, I just haven't. And like,
Yeah.
I'll go on, I'll go on drives and, and I'll be like, I don't have a camera with me and I'm okay with it. But then like I'm not, it's that um how do you like reset your, I guess, I don't know if discipline is the right word, but how do you jumpstart that creative drive that you might have lost for a while, and everybody goes through it. I mean, but it's one of those things where I've always been kind of able to shake myself out of it before, and I'm slowly doing that. But I wonder if anyone has any thoughts on that.
Unshaking yourself out.
I mean, is it just go out and like, do you shoot every day? Do you go on a walk and take your camera with you every day? Or, um, if you like, what's the longest you've gone without intentionally creating work?
Well, I, I'm not sure what the crowd says, but like for me, I carry my camera with me every day. So like this chunky boy is like my safety blanket. So Woodrow and I go out every day. If I go to the grocery store, if I go wherever, it comes with me. When I worked in the before times before the accident and everything, I would take it to meetings with me and shit, which was hilarious because people would be like, "Why the fuck does a Dell guy have a film camera?" It's like, shut up. It doesn't matter. Why?
Just in case.
Yeah, you never know what you're gonna see. So I always have it with me. But like for intentional creation, that's a tough one because like I haven't really been feeling like super creative to like go make stuff. I've got a few ideas of things I'd like to do, but I just don't feel like it's right to do them right now. So I haven't. Um, so I don't know. Maybe just carry a camera with you and just see what happens.
Yeah.
Someone says buying more film, eventually you're going to need to shoot them because you're going to run out of room in the fridge. Well, that's a good one.
That ship has sailed. I've run out of room in my film fridge. I've run out of room in my vegetable crisper. I've got film in cold storage. Like,
I've
yeah,
got the same problem. Like I got like a mini fridge for doing a shoot when I'm like, cool, I can reclaim my food fridge for food. And then I filled that little fucker up and now like half my regular fridge is back to being film again. And it's like, God damn
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah.
And a lot
Any
of people
other?
just don't force it. Wait till you feel it, follow your inner soul and mind. And I agree with that. Just yeah, JP's like it's a well, I mean, Jessica's got some nice stuff there because you've got the 8x10 as well too, and you've got some rarer film than I have. So it's like you've been at the game a lot longer than I have. Like I just got into the instant film game 3 years ago, so like I'm a little late to the party. Like my only party trick is I have a few sheets of Type 55 left that I'm just like, "Ooh, I love it so much."
that's that's a good thing to have.
Yeah.
I just so I've been part of like my COVID project. Besides not mastering sourdough and learning how to do my own nails, I've been trying to organize, like, because I'm one of those classic artists that I'm not well organized, and I've been going through because I mean I bought a case of black and white Spectra film like when I was trying to get to the impossible level. I had everything except the trip to Vienna. That's the only thing I was missing
Oh
when they
shit.
had the Pioneer program. I was gonna do it. I was gonna be the one. No one ever did it.
Really?
Um, yeah, and that was the thing I was missing. But um, I anyway, so I bought like a stupid amount of PQ film, and I still have some. Like I give it out. Like when I see people, I give them like five, like, because the batteries are starting to go, and
Yeah.
it oxidizes. It actually turns a really interesting color. Like you get these kind of like weird amber like artifacts now. Like like the image will be like normal when you take it, and then like a few days later, it's not the killer crystals, but it's like
It's something else.
it's almost like when a mirror has like that marbling on it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
sometimes you get a little bit of that. Like it really depends on the pack of film. But it's anyway, the moral of the story is it's going bad. So I'm like, here, shoot it. Like get it out, get it out into the world. But anyway, so I've been trying to organize. Well, I found a 4x5 camera that I did a Kickstarter backing for that I completely forgot about. Like I was like, I opened there was this cardboard box at the back of my closet, and I opened it, and I was like, what's this? And it was like, oh, here's a landscape 4x5 camera. I need to buy a lens for it, but now that Lomography is selling the Graflock food back for the
Yeah,
Fuji
for the
Y,
slide. Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, hmm, you know, I'm because I really love the yes, the Intrepid. Thank you. I couldn't think. Or no, I'm sorry. It wasn't the Intrepid. That's the Intrepid is on my wish list. I want an Intrepid 8x10 camera because I don't have an 8. The only 8x10 camera I have is a pinhole. Anytime that I've shot 8x10, I've either had the good graces to have a friend like James Eakins, with his Cinar, or we've rented a camera. The first time we shot, 8x10, we rented a Cinar from Sammy's camera in Los Angeles, and we took it up to Bodie. And I was hauling around my 50-pound 8x10 processor and
Yeah.
the 50-pound camera and a parasol, and it was lots of fun. Luckily, we had like the good fortune of the ranger there. There's all these things saying like, don't, no services, no water, no this, no that. Like you have to park far away. And this guy was like, do you want to drive like into the town and like use our break room to like process your film? And I was
Oh,
like, sure. So he's not there anymore, but props to Ranger Ryan for looking out for us. He was like, people come up here and do wet plate collodion all the time. He's like, this is nothing. You're low maintenance. And I'm like,
oh
can I
shit.
get that? I'm like, can I get that in writing, please?
Well, that's the next camera for me is 8x10. Armand and I
Yeah.
have been talking. He's got one there that we've been talking about, and yeah, that's the next camera for me is like 8x10 because like
Yeah.
I
I
need.
I mean, I would love to buy a Cinar because that's like what I've shot with the most, but they're just out of my price range, realistically. Um,
I really
you
want
know,
a ear door super bad, but like that's wicked out of my price range.
Yeah, but I mean, the Intrepids, I've met a lot of folks who like them. They're beautiful. I mean, my hardest part would be like, what color bellows do I get? They're all pretty. Um, but I mean,
Rainbow.
people built like 8x10s out of Legos.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much ingenuity out in the world, and just finding your people and finding the people who are going to support you, I think is so important.
Hmm.
And especially like when you start getting into specialized things like 8x10,
Yeah.
you get really lucky that people that are willing to give you tips and tricks and everything. But I think that the Graflock back for the Fuji wide is going to open a lot of people up to rediscovering either their pack film cameras. Like I have a 110 that I always wanted to get. I have a 110A that I want to. I've always wanted to get converted to 4x5,
That'd be
but it's
cool.
also such a beautiful camera that I'm like, I don't want to chop it apart, but like I want to use it, so I kind of need to. And
Just
now that they,
one that'll make it gracefully.
with that, yeah, exactly, like option 8 or one of those guys. So I mean, there's so many opportunities for that, but I always kind of end up going back to my land camera and my SX70. So
Gotta love the SX70s. But what was your question that I interrupted you on there that you were starting earlier? Because
I asked,
you were asking me a question and everyone on the chat a question. You're like, I have a question for you guys, and then I was like, yeah, someone's interrupting here. This
I don't
guy.
remember.
Oh, because it
It's
sounded like
okay.
a good question, and then I like totally railroaded you.
I only ask good questions.
That
So,
get a four.
you know.
Someone's like, I'm super tempted to get a 4x5 but I'm starting to run out of space. Just get it anyways, whatever.
Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. That's I'm like, you don't need clothes or broccoli. You just need film and cameras. I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
whatever. That's why I'm single.
I think that's why a lot of us are single. It's like, wait, explain this hobby to me again. Explain this whole thing. Like,
Yeah, people like look
yeah.
at my fridge and they're like, "Do you even know nutrition?" It's like I have Kodak and Agfa and Fuji.
Those
What's
are all delicious. Those are all delicious in stir fry, I
they
hear.
they are delicious. And it's fucking hilarious. I shot some film yesterday that expired in 1991. And
Nice.
it was two rolls of Agfa. One was XR, they were both XRS 1000, which I'd never shot before. I was curious to see how it worked
Hmm.
out. One roll was made in 1980 or expired in 1988. The other roll expired in 1991. I asked the model what year she was born in because I'm like, let's go with the one that's closest to like the age you're born. Neither of them were even remotely fucking close. And I was like, God
Well,
damn it, what's with all these youngins? She was born in 1998. And I was like, I
damn,
graduated when you were in diapers. This is weird.
damn kid.
I
Well,
know. So we shot the came out beautiful.
one of the things that's wonderful about, again, photography and the art world, and opening yourself up and talking to strangers, and finding these interesting, kind of happenstances is, people love to give you things, especially when they find out you love film. They're like,
Yeah.
I've got a bunch of crap sitting in my garage, and I'm just going to give you all these old cameras and all this film that I haven't looked at in forever. Here's a really old, an oldie but a goodie.
Damn, some
You talk about,
Anko.
I've never even heard of this film. This film was developed before. I don't know if you can see it.
Developed
Uh,
for April 1953, 50, 65,
62,
62. You
62.
know what? I bet you it'll work because I got this homie in mine that lives out in Thunder Bay now. He just shot some stuff from like 1955 and he got images
Wow.
of it.
Were Marty McFly or Doc Brown on it, or
See, man. They were not, but he's also shot what is the flammable film? Um,
I don't know. What is the
the
flammable?
it was what all the film stock used to be before they went with safety film, which is like the film we know today. It was like nitrate based film.
Oh,
He even shot some of that shit because he found some of it, which is like super fucking rare and like very volatile and crazy to work with. He found a roll of it at like um one of the camera markets, and he decided to try fucking shooting it and mucking with it. And he got images out of it, and then he was like, "I'm gonna light this bitch on fire so it doesn't explode in my house." So he's like, "I scanned the negatives," and then he torched them after because like that's what all of the films used to be shot on, and they had to be really careful about storing them because like when they would run them in the projections and stuff, they would sometimes light on fire in
yeah.
the thing, and yeah, I mean,
I
film.
got a little bit of a latent image on the roll film that was inside the 110A that I bought at a flea market.
Oh, crazy.
Like like it rendered like just really light. It was like the chemicals spread really well. Um, but it, like, I mean, you really couldn't see what it was. It was just, but I was like shocked that it, like, that there was any kind of a chemical reaction, that like the pods weren't dry, and that it like came through the camera, and I was like, what?
That's
And
fucking crazy.
yeah, so I mean, you never know. I mean, I know they made roll film, I think up until maybe like the 80s or like early 80s maybe. I'm not super up on the history of roll film, but it's
Yeah.
just it's definitely fascinating.
I don't know a lot about roll film either. I just know that a lot of people hated it because like you had to wait for the picture to develop before you could take the next photo, which was like why they invented the pack film cameras.
Hmm.
That was like the lore that I heard anyways.
And then, of course, pack film begat, integral film, and people would shake pack film because you had to coat it with the noxious, if you've shot 665 or type 55, you have to coat the image with the like stuff that smells like a combination between like glue and envelope, like wet envelope. I think that's like what I describe it as, is like
Yeah, with
wet envelope
a
glue.
tinge of vinegar in there. Yes.
Yeah. And so people would shake it to dry it, so like, obviously everyone's heard hey yeah, but
Yeah,
like
okay, fuck. So
don't shake.
That's the Polaroid you can shake.
Yes,
Don't shake these Polaroids because it's
correct.
actually wet inside, unless you want to ruin
And
the
you
image.
damage the pods.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, now some people are into damaging the pods because you get the little ferns and all the little like whatnot going on, but yeah. And somewhere on the internet, I've never been able to find it again, there was this really adorable cartoon of like a little Polaroid, and he was like a little stick figure, and he was like, "Stop shaking me!" And I
I love
wanted it on a t-shirt.
that.
I wanted it on a t-shirt so bad, and I swear I saw it on the Save Polaroid website, and like I contacted Sean Turbity, who was one of the co-founders of Save Polaroid, and I was like, where is that image? And he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about, so maybe I hallucinated it, I don't know.
You should just maybe like talk with a graphic artist and just like make this happen. Do your
Yeah,
own.
because I can't draw, so it's like I take pictures because I can't draw,
I
so
can't draw either. I shamelessly steal things though. So like I made these stickers that I stole the Polaroid Originals logo from and made my
I
own.
like those. I have one of those. I
Yeah.
I think it might even be on my 8x10 processor carrying case,
I
so.
think, and I don't like, some people sort of were like, disagreed with me, but I think the old Polaroid Originals logo looks a lot better than the new one. I don't like, this is kind of boring. It looks like a thermometer. You know those old thermometers that were popular in the 90s?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does look like one of the 80s thermometers. Like, I want to put it on my giant forehead. I just want to be like,
It's like, is this sticker also a mood ring? Like, will it tell me?
right?
Um, but I am glad that Polaroid still exists so that we can still give them lots of money and use our historical cameras.
Absolutely. And I haven't really shot with any of the new cameras because, again, why would I when I have an SX70? But
Well,
it excites me they're making new cameras, so.
I will say that I do like the One Step Plus a lot. So I have a One Step Plus, and Polaroid loaned me a couple of One Step Pluses for the workshop that I held a couple weeks ago. And the One Step Plus is actually a really cool little camera once you like get used to how it works and everything. Because like being able to remote control it, being able to do all the manual controls with it, it gives you a lot of flexibility to be really creative with it, which I think is really cool. Now, if they could like find a way to like meld like SX70 with like that would be like a really cool camera, I think. And who
Mhm.
knows, maybe they will at some point give us more pro cameras, but right now I think they're focusing on the consumer side because like they need to just continue to exist as a company and
Yeah.
reestablish themselves because it's not the Polaroid of like past where they had like, hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank in the war chest and they were good from all of their military contracts. Like they're like a startup basically. Like even though it's Polaroid now, it's still the skeleton crew of Impossible that's running the ship more or less. They just
Yeah.
the branding a bit.
And
Yeah.
anytime I see a Polaroid camera in, a commercial or a TV show or a movie, that's good news.
Yeah, it is
And
good news.
you know, especially when they use it correctly, which is, it
Yeah,
actually it's starting to happen more and more. But
but
um,
we're in the
yeah,
last 40 seconds, and
okay,
I want to say thank you so much for joining me. It was really great to see
absolutely.
you. I miss you a lot, and I appreciate and
I
love you
miss you
very
too.
much.
And
And
I just want to tell everybody, vote for people locally that support the arts. And if you can get involved in the arts, I'm on the arts commission in the town I live in. And if you can volunteer or get involved and mentor people so that you can carry this forward, that's just as important as all the other nonsense that's out there. So please make sure you support candidates locally that support the arts.
Get out and vote. Fuck
All
this,
right.
fuck Dapolis, and all that
It
shit. Love you guys.
was really great to see everybody.